video is called 5 Little Ducks. See if you can look and find all of those numbers that we've talked about in math so far.
1, 2, 3.
Gabriel, we go to the
5.
No, you can say.
I know how to draw 5.
Oh, don't yell out. That makes it hard to hear.
Down the river far away, Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 4 little ducks came back.
4. That's the one we talked about.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little ducks went swimming one day, down the river far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 3 little ducks came back.
How many ducks?
3. Where are the other ducks?
2,
Keep
3.
watching, maybe we'll see.
3 little ducks went swimming one day, down the river far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 2 little ducks came back.
2.
How many ducks do you see?
2. 2 little ducks went swimming one day, down the river far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 1 little duck came back. 1.
Oh,
1 little duck went swimming one day, down the river far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but no little ducks came back.
How many?
0.
0. Mother duck, she went swimming one day, down the river far away.
Did you sing too
She
hard?
said quack, 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 5 little ducks came back. 5 little ducks came back.
5.
How many ducks?
5.
5 little ducks came back.
Oh, let's do the Halloween one. Her birth getting too hot. Why is it not?
Because we're all done.
It's hot.
So Oni asked a really, oh Gabriel, will you go turn on the lights first? So Oni asked a really good question in the video. He said, well, where did the ducks go? Who has an idea of where they think the ducks might have gone? Riley.
I think they were in a cave, under a cave in the water.
Under a cave? Okay. Aspen.
To school.
To school? That's a good idea. So they went one at a time,
Yeah.
and then Mother Duck went and picked them up.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction. Eva.
I think they went, that river brought them to a big pond.
To a pond? Okay. And then Mother Duck had to go get them. Jax.
Yeah, because probably they went on a ride.
On a ride? I like the predictions you're making, the ideas that you have. So kindergarten, how many ducks were there to start?
5. Or they could have gone snowboarding.
And then one at a time, they went somewhere. We don't really know where. Until there were how many left? 4, and then 3, and then 2, 1.
And 0.
How many is that?
0.
And then Mother Duck went and got her ducks, and how many were there then?
5.
So those were all the numbers that we've talked about in math so far. So next, we're going to play a little bit of a game with those numbers.
Cool.
But we have to be listening and paying attention in order to know how.
I think.
Riley, are you ready? All right. Lolly, are you ready? Okay. So kindergarten, the game we're going to play is where Mrs. Davis gives you a whiteboard and a dry erase marker and blocks. What we're going to do is I'm going to say a number one of the numbers that we've worked on so far. So, when you have all of your things in front of you, I'll say a number. And if I say the number 3, I want you to think of as many ways as you can to write the number 3.
I know.
So raise your hand and tell me one way that I could show or write the number 3. Jimmy, what's one way?
Separate the blocks and write around them.
Oh! So Jimmy knows that he'll have blocks in front of him. So he says that I could get 3 blocks and I could trace them. Does that show 3?
Yeah.
What's another way? Raise your hand. Aspen.
You can do little curve, little curve.
Little curve, little curve. We know how to write the number 3, don't we?
Yeah.
Does that show 3?
Yeah.
It's another way to show the number 3.
I do.
But you're yelling out at me, so I'm going to call on River, who is patiently waiting.
Trace the blocks and then write the number 3.
When we did that, didn't we? We traced our blocks. There's 3 blocks, and we wrote the number 3. Can you think of another way to show 3?
Write number 3.
Write the number 3. Okay, I already have that. How about the word 3?
Yeah.
Could I look up there and figure out how to write the word 3? Yeah. Because I know what a 3 looks like. It's right here. So what does this word say?
3.
3. So if you can see that, then you can write the number 3.
Or there.
So I see a T, and then an H, and an R, and then 2 E's. Does that say 3?
Yeah.
So that's another way to show the number 3. Does anybody else have any ideas? Cody, do you have an idea?
Yes.
With my fingers. Is that a way to show the number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could hold up 3 fingers so Mrs. Davis knew that this is a way to show.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, do you have a
You
way?
can do it like this.
That's a number 2 that you're showing me. So you did little curve, big line, little.
No, I'm doing it like this.
Do you want to show me? Do you want to show me? So that's another way to do the number
That's
2.
8.
But that's not usually how we write our number 2s
I would,
in here.
I would show you how
Jack's
to
yelling out at me.
number
Making a
3.
good choice.
I know how to make it, but
All right. Does anybody else have another way? Now we're really having to think, aren't we? Michael, do you have another way to show the number 3? Can you tell me from there how I could show the number 3? I could write the number 3. You're right. Little curve, little curve. That helps me write or that's the way that I write the number 3. Grayson, can you tell me from there? Can you tell me with your words? Make sure we're sitting crisscross applesauce, Karen.
you did why
It's getting harder to think of ways, isn't it, Grayson? I could write the number 3 the way that we've learned in class. What if I drew, you tell me. If I drew, what if I drew 3 stars? Is that 3?
Yeah.
What if I did
Count 3 maggot.
3 dots? Is that 3?
Yeah.
What if
Or
instead
3
of
dots.
tracing my blocks, I just laid them on there?
Yeah.
Is that 3?
Yeah.
So there are so many ways
I
to
know.
show the number.
Like
Jax,
the
come over, Clifton. You can't yell out at me. That's not a good choice. Kindergarten, we have to remember to raise our hand if we have an idea. Kayla, thank you for raising your hand.
There's 3 people holding their hands.
There's 3 people holding their hands.
Where that piece of paper.
Oh, right here? Yeah. So you could try to draw 3 people holding hands, I guess. We're not going to have a lot of time with each number, though. So I need you to think as quickly as you can. All the ways you can think of to show the number 3, okay? Do we think we can do that?
Yes.
All right. Who is my paper passer? Well, now you have one. So kindergarten. As many ways as you can. So if I say the number 2, I don't want you to just write the number 2. I want you to think of as many ways as you can to show me the number 2. Think we can do that?
Yes.
All right. So here's your first number. Number 1. Show me number 1 in as many ways as you can think of it.
It still works.
Just show me on your thing.
Riley, it still works.
You need to tell me. I'll
Yep.
see it. Ooh, I see lots of awesome ways to show the number 1. Grayson, I like how you're using your tools to write the word number 1. Can you think of another way to show the number 1? We need more than one way. River, come up with some more ways to show the number 1. As many ways as we can. So you can write the number 1. You can write the word 1. You could show me a picture of one thing.
I wrote one person and the number one.
We'll talk about it in just a minute. Find another way to show me the number 1. As many ways as you can.
Look at my one piece. Oh my God.
Oh, so many neat ideas. So can you think of another way to write the number 1?
I think the number way.
Caleb, could you write the word?
I already is what I made a flower.
So think of another way to show me the number 1.
They can't make it. One hand.
These are a lot of great ideas. I really like how you're really thinking. Come up with some more ways. Write as many as you can. Uh-huh. That is a great one. Oh, Lally, those are some neat ways to show the number 1. Does that say 1?
Yeah.
If you look up there.
It has an O.
You see the word? You wrote the word. All right, just a few more seconds. That's good.
Hurry.
All right, kindergarten, everybody put their markers down.
My marker.
Everybody should have their markers down. Aspen, will you bring your board up here?
Sure.
Aspen, tell us about your board. And everybody should be looking up here where they can see Aspen's board.
I draw one human.
One human. Does that show 1?
Yes.
What else?
I draw the word one.
1. O-N-E. Does that say 1? We can look over there and we can see that it does. O-N-E.
That's one apple.
1 apple, all right.
That's one heart.
1 heart.
One yo-yo. One cookie. One foot.
I see. So you drew a lot of pictures of one thing.
One dog. One dog. On that one.
So I saw a lot of people tracing their blocks too. Michael, your eyes and ears should be up here, not on Jayla. So I saw a lot of people tracing blocks too, which is a great way to show number 1. Can anybody raise their hand and tell me another way that they showed the number 1 that Aspen didn't have? You can go have a seat. Thank you for sharing with us. Grayson. Oh, just sit down and tell me another way that you showed the number 1.
A one and
He wrote the number 1. That's one that Aspen didn't have out there.
number one and one human and one hand.
So the video that you just watched is a 15-minute segment from a much longer lesson. It was actually a 50-minute lesson. In terms of differentiated instruction, I attempted to differentiate instruction in a variety of different ways. I feel that this is extremely important, especially in kindergarten, because we have so many different styles of learning at that young of age, and they don't know how they learn best. So we try to hit all of those styles of learning in each lesson. So one way that I differentiated instruction was by reviewing the information through a video, which would hit the auditory learners. Using music can help them remember, like connecting the number symbols to the actual quantities. And then another way that I differentiated instruction was verbally. I actually reviewed the information verbally for those students that like to talk or hear the information and process it that way. Also, another way that we differentiated instruction was, or I did, is I tried to meet the needs of the learners or the students who learn best through touching or physical learning style. And that's why you saw in the video that they were given blocks for the exercise. And that way they could actually touch the blocks and determine how many they needed to deal with, what quantity they were dealing with. Yet another way was to meet the needs of the intrapersonal learners. And I think that was best met through modeling. As you saw, I modeled the process that we would go through and the multiple ways that we could come up with 3, so that all students could find a way to produce that number 3 or show that number 3 or whatever number they were producing in a way that made sense to them. So, and I think you'll see that I also differentiated instruction in some other ways, such as allowing them to work in groups, but also allowing them to work alone at times. As far as any challenges that arose, it's difficult to plan a lesson that meets all of those learning styles, or at least a majority of them. So you really have to think outside of the box, especially since I have my own way of learning. I'm more used to a certain style of learning. So when I write lesson plans, oftentimes it will be where I want to show the information in that certain way. However, I have to think about all of my learners and the various ways that they might interpret or process information. So I really have to get away from my own norms and find ways that will meet all of the needs of all of my students. How I would change my approach in the future. I think that the lesson was really, really good, and the students were really engaged, and I could tell by walking around that they really did master, almost all of them had mastery of the 6 different numbers that we were working on. However, in the future, I would change my assessment so that it was more differentiated. The actual assessment that I did was just a page in the workbook, and I felt like some of those students who were able to show me that they knew those numbers in other ways struggled when it came to just working in the workbook. So I think that's a challenge that I need to meet in the future, where I find ways to allow different learning styles to also show me what they know in the end through an assessment.